What's going on, my dear friends? Today in this video, let's learn and master the Angular framework's latest version. So let's get started. Alright, in our last lectures, we covered the basics of Angular directives and how to use the ngIf directive. But what if we need to handle multiple conditions? How do we do that? Can you guys guess? Yes, you are correct. We are going to dive into handling multiple if conditions today. So guys, handling multiple conditions in Angular is super important, especially when we want to make our application more dynamic and responsive. In Angular, we have a new and improved way to manage multiple if conditions, which makes our code cleaner and easier to maintain. But first, let's look at the old way using the ngIf directive. So guys, let's take a practical exam to understand this better. Imagine we want to show a welcome message based on the user's role. If the user is an admin, we'll show welcome admin. If the user is a member, we'll show welcome member. And if the user is guest, we'll show welcome guest messages in the browser view. So sounds good, right? So let's see this in action. So guys, first thing first, we need a few variables for this. So let's create them. Go to the app component is file and create 3 variables. Is admin, is member, and is guest. After that, set their types to boolean and give them a default values. So here's how we do it. So the first variable is admin. Set this type to boolean and assign a default value false. The second variable is member. Set this type to boolean and set a default value false. So the last variable is guest. Set the type to boolean and set a default value true. So now we have the variable. So guys, now let's see how we can handle these conditions in our template using the ngIf directive. So first let's look at the old ngIf approach. So go to the app component HTML file and write this code. So first let's create the admin message. So for this, create h4 tags and the message will be welcome admin. So next message for the member. So duplicate this admin message and set the message as welcome member. Next we need another message for the guest. So again duplicate this and add the message welcome guest. That's it. So save this all and go to the browser. As you guys can see here, all the messages loaded inside the browser. So why is that? Because in here still we didn't add any condition logics. So that's why this loaded all the messages inside the browser. So now let's work on the admin message condition logic. So guys, I want to load this message when this is admin value set to true. So how do we do that? Very simple. For this we use the ngIf directive. So first go to the app component HTML file and modify the h4 tag for the admin message like this. So inside this h4 opening tags, add the ngIf directive. So as you guys know, for these directives we use the asterisk symbol. So add the asterisk symbol and the directive is ngIf. After this equal sign and the condition is this variable is admin because we are dealing with the admin message, right? Alright, so guys, this ngIf directive check the value of is admin. If it is true, this message welcome admin will be displayed in the browser. So save this and go to the browser. You will notice that the admin message is not displayed because is admin is set to false by default. So if I change this isAdmin value to true, as you guys can see here, now this admin message displayed inside the browser. Awesome, right? So guys, now next move on to the next message, which is the member message. Same like previous. First add the ngif directive. After this, the condition is, this time we are checking whether this is member or not. So the variable is member. So pass this variable here. So that's it. Save this and go to the browser. We cannot see the message. Why is that? Because this is member value also set to false. So change this to true. Save this all and go to the browser. As you guys can see here, this time we can see this member message inside the browser. So same like this, let's work on the next message, which is this guest message. So I want to display this message when this is guest value return true. So how do we do that? For this also, we can use the same approach, ng if. So back to the app component HTML file and add the ng if directive to this guest message. So inside this asterisk symbol and the ng if directive. After this, the condition. So pass this variable is guest. That's it. So save this and again go to the browser. As you guys can see here, this loaded the guest message as well. So guys, this is how we work with multiple if conditions, but with this approach, we have several problems. So we'll discuss about this in the next lectures. So guys, in the previous lecture, we learned how to deal with multiple conditions using the ngIf directive the old ways. So in this lecture, let's see how we can deal the multiple conditions using the new syntax approach in Angular. So let's get started. So guys, if we compare this to the previous approach, this new syntax is very easy and clean. So let's see this in action. Down here, create if syntax scope. How do we do that? You guys already know about this, right? So add the @ symbol and the directive is if. After this, add a parenthesis and add the method scope, open and close curly brackets. So now inside this, let's deal with the admin message. So the condition is admin, pass that inside this parenthesis. So next, copy the admin message from the previous code, paste it inside this if scope. Now we don't need this ngIf directive, so remove it. That's it. So inside the component is file, set this admin value to true and set other two values to false. Save this all and go to the browser. Now as you guys can see here, this admin message loaded inside the browser, which is coming from this if syntax scope. So we successfully loaded the admin message inside the browser. Next, let's see how to load this member message inside the browser. So how do we do that? For this, like previous, we can use another if syntax block. But guys, in this new syntax approach, we have a better approach. For this, in this new syntax, we have if else block. So we can use that to display this member message inside the browser conditioning. So let's see this in action. So after this if scope, create another if else syntax block. How do you do that? This is also same like the previous. First we have to use the @ symbol and the directive is if else. So when we're using if else, we have to pass the condition, right? So create the parentheses for the condition. After this, add the if else blocks scope. Next, now we have to define the condition for this. This time we are going to display the member message. So the condition is member. So pass this inside this parentheses. So now inside this scope, copy and paste the member message h4 tags and remove the previous ngIf directive. That's it. So again, go back to the app component file and set this member value to true and admin value to false. So save this all and go to the browser. Inside the browser, we can see this member message. So guys, we successfully loaded the member message as well. Next, let's see how to load the guest message. For this also, we can use the same approach, another if else syntax block. So let's do this. Create another if else syntax block down here. So @ symbol and the directive is if else. After this, add the parentheses and the condition scope. So this time the condition is guest. And at last, copy and paste the guest message inside the scope and remove the ngIf directive. So let's go to the component file and set this guest value to true and member value to false. So save this all and again go to the browser. As you guys can see here, this time we got the guest message printed on the browser. Awesome, right? So guys, this is how we deal with multiple conditions using the new directive if syntax blocks in Angular.